Todd McShay back here on the Rich Eisen Show, fresh off of what we all witnessed last night. That was something else, huh, Todd?
That was crazy. It really was. I was out at the Rose Bowl last week, and that was probably the best game that I've been to live since the Vince Young, Matt Leinart battle that they had. And then I wouldn't say that the national championship was as good a game as one of those epics in terms of 4 quarters of really good play, but it was just such a crazy turn of events from the first half to the second half. I mean, how many other coaches in the world would pull their quarterback who's 25-2 in favor of a true freshman in the second half of a national championship game, and it turns out to be the right move. It was an amazing finish, and then to go back and forth with 2 true freshman quarterbacks really playing well, making one mistake here or there, but for the most part playing at a really high level.
So do you think the idea of putting Tua in there had anything to do with the rumor that he was going to transfer if he didn't get in there? No, I really don't.
Mm-hmm. I don't see Nick Saban caring about, not that he wouldn't care about him leaving, but I think Nick Saban's so focused on one goal, the next game, the Belichick-Saban way. And I think he's not going to let an 18-year-old hold him hostage. I think that basically, he may have sensed it, but I don't think he's going to make a decision off of that. I think realistically, and it was obvious. And, there was rumors of it even before the semifinal game that they against Clemson, that they were going to potentially go to if things weren't going well and they just got out to a lead and the defense was playing so well, they didn't need to try it. But Tua, from everything I've heard, was just lights out in practice. He pushed them in the spring, and Hurts just was struggling so much that they had to do something. They had to find a way to throw the ball, and Tua came in. It's like the whole game changed. The energy for Bama changed. All of a sudden, the defense was playing at an even higher level. It just was a perfect time to pull that move, and really, it was what had to happen from a football standpoint, and it lit a spark, too.
Todd McShay here on the Rich Eisen Show. How many pro prospects were on that field last night?
I think up to 23, 24.
Wow.
If they all, maybe 10 of them are underclassmen. So we'll see. That January 15th is coming up. That's the declaration date. I think a lot of them will probably wind up leaving. But Minka Fitzpatrick, the safety, didn't have a massive impact game. He was battling some injury stuff, but he's got a chance to be a top 10 pick. Calvin Ridley, who really stole that ball, by the way. There's no way Tua was throwing that ball. The game tire. He was throwing to number 22, the Najee Harris, the running back. But Calvin kept working back to the ball as he usually does, and made the play and tied the game up. But Ridley's, I think, maybe the only first-round wide receiver that truly belongs in the first round. And then just a bunch of guys on the defensive side. And then for Georgia, those 2 backs have a chance to go in the first 2 rounds. And while Chubb was the bell cow and got more of the carries, I think you're going to wind up seeing Sony Michel go higher and potentially maybe late first round. I think after Saquon Barkley, there's a whole lot of really good running backs. Maybe no, true first rounder, but I think he's in that second tier, that mix for the next 3-4 guys, like Darius Geis from LSU and so on and so forth. I think he's going to be right there in the mix.
Yeah, we're going to see them on the first Friday of March at the Combine. That's when the running backs get out there. Todd McShay joining me here. When you mentioned all of the pro prospects, are you including 2020 first overall selection Tua Tagovailoa? Are you including him in that mix, Todd?
No. These are just the draft eligibles. Not there yet, Rich.
Well, I mean, he won't be the first overall pick in 2020 unless he's the running mate of Oprah in 2020, Todd.
You're already going down that road.
Oh,
too, huh?
my gosh. After what I saw last night, Todd McShay, are you kidding me? Yes. That was incredible.
I'm talking about Oprah, not Tua.
Oh, so then what I saw on Sunday night? Absolutely, Todd.
There you go. Now, listen, he looked awesome. Now, he doesn't look all that big. I'm not going to get into this now.
You're not going to go down that rabbit hole, huh?
Although I started down it.
Oh, yeah, you did. So who is the number 1 quarterback on your draft board as we're sitting here right now?
It's really close between Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen. Ultimately, if I had to win a game today in the NFL, it would be with Josh Rosen. I think the guy I want to go to battle with for the next 10 years is Sam Darnold. and we've got a lot more to unearth and a lot more digging to do. I just, I'll just be straight with you. The reports you get from guys who have been on the scouting trail and who've been digging deep, and from people inside UCLA's building, that Josh Rosen can be difficult at times, questions authority at times. There's just, and like everyone's talked about, does he love the game? Does he need the game? Those sorts of things, which you can't brush off. They're hugely important. But then you put on the tape, especially the USC-UCLA game, and it's apples to apples. You're just watching them go back and forth. And very clearly, Josh Rosen is more NFL ready today, more polished, goes through progressions. He trusts his protection more than Darnold did this past year for obvious reasons, because he was getting killed, 2 out of every 3 times he dropped back. But Darnold got into some bad habits, but in my opinion, they're mostly curable. I think he's just got to learn to get 2 hands on the ball, protect the ball. He really had good pocket presence when he trusted his offensive line 2 years ago, and my assumption is he'll revert back to that and continue to progress in that area. And when it's all said and done, I just think he can create more, extend more plays, and I think his leadership and just the way that guys around him believe in him and follow him, I think are really important at that position. And Rosen, the questions have to be answered between now and the draft.
Well, how do you answer those, Todd? Because you are one of many of who I respect, who I'm thrilled through my network or this show I get to talk to right around this time of year, that keeps saying Rosen is I'm just flat out intimating that the scouts believe you don't want him in your foxhole. He comes from a rich family, so he doesn't need football. And he comes out and he calls out the NCAA for being what they are, which are hypocrites. I mean, let's be honest here. Why?
That's a good point, though.
So why is that a bad mix for a guy with a skill set like his to be the number 1 overall pick of the draft?
This is why you have to dig. And Rich, this is really that's the process now, because you have to trust your sources, and the people I've talked to, I certainly trust, but they're all also area scouts who have been out on the road and missing their kids and their families, and they get ornery this time of year, and it's easy for them to go down negative road, and I want to make sure. I've met with him, and in talking to him, I liked him, and I thought he was personable, and I don't mind the NCAA stuff. You know what? He was right. Everything he said was right. Just about everything he said was right.
Right.
And so I understand that stuff. Am I going to get a full focus out of him? Because outside of Roethlisberger, just about every quarterback that you would put in that top tier is an absolute crazed lunatic and has been since day one. And Roethlisberger has come a long way, but just obsessive about the preparation, the work, the love of the game, and just need it. From Rodgers to Brady to the Mannings, the Breeze, etc. And so if I'm looking to get an elite quarterback, which is what I'm doing with the 1st or 2nd pick in the draft, then I want to make sure that he has those qualities, because history tells me the ones that don't usually end up busting. And so that's why it's so important. But we got to dig deeper, get some of the psychological reports back. As GMs get involved and the college coordinators get more involved in the process and more interviews, I think we'll learn more. Listen, I don't mind if he has a little bit of jerk to him, if you will. Mm-hmm. A lot of these guys can be very difficult to deal with at times. That's fine. But is it going to be he's not coachable, he's questioning authority? It's fine if you're tough to be around, but you don't want to draft Jay Cutler. And I get a lot of Jay Cutler-type reports back.
Last one for you, Todd. Do you have as much man love for Saquon as I do and all the other talent evaluators I've talked to about him?
Yeah, it's tough not to, Rich. It really is. I mean, he's special. Usually I don't believe in drafting a running back in the first round. You've got to kind of be exception to the rule. Adrian Peterson clearly was. We went for a while there without one, in my opinion. And recently we've had a few, from Todd Gurley to Ezekiel Elliott.
Fournette.
Leonard Fournette last year. And even Christian McCaffrey in a different mold. But I think that he is the only one in this class, and it's a really deep class of running backs. I mean, when Bryce Love could be a second, third-round pick out of Stanford. I mean, that's how deep it is with Darius Geis from LSU and Ronald Jones from USC, the two Georgia running backs that we saw last night, the two Alabama running backs. I mean, you're talking about 10, 12 guys in that second, third-round range that belong there. But I think that Barkley is the only one where if you're going to use a first-round pick on a running back, he belongs in that exception to the rule category.
Great job on the road for you this season, Todd. Really enjoyed your coverage on the sidelines and whatever you did. And when you're out here for pro days or what have you, please come in studio. Love to have you here in person.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be cool. Hopefully USC and UCLA will get together on their pro days and we can make it into like a 4-day fun trip.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm sure Chip Kelly will make that happen for us, Todd.
Yeah,
That'll be great.
He's working on it right now.
I'm sure that's what he's doing. Thanks, Todd. Appreciate it. Take care.
Bud.
Okay, it's Todd McShay.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.